Tintin XL 92.5 FM.
Oh, welcome in. The new drug today is my friend JJ LaSelva from South Central Ocala just told me football fiesta starts tonight.
Yes, I like that.
What do you got, JJ? 5 straight nights? Is that what you just reported?
5 straight nights of playoff football.
Oh, man. 5 straight nights. 5
Some in the pros,
nights.
yeah. But
that?
tonight, college.
How about that,
All
Carlyon?
high stakes. The loser is out.
Loser leave town?
Loser leave town.
That's a wrestling phrase. Oh, you wrestling
I
guys
love
appreciate that, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Nothing better.
It is pretty good, though. I mean, tonight, tomorrow night, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, playoff football. I didn't think about it until JJ said it. Playoff football 5 nights in a row.
Can't beat it.
Really good stuff, man.
The 12-team playoff has been fantastic
100%.
for college football. Now, I do think in years to come, we will get better opening, results and excitement. But I mean, it's phenomenal what it is evolved to and where we are. It's going to be. I can't wait for the game tonight. The game tomorrow, I think, has got a real chance to be one for the ages, and then you go right into 3 days of great NFL playoff football.
Yeah, and by the way, you're right about the college. I said this too. It's been an overwhelming success. They got to tweak it. There were going to be growing pains. They got to figure it out. There's some ways to get rid. There's always going to be blowouts, by the way. Like I said, there's blowouts in the FCS early rounds. There's blowouts in the NCAA tournament early rounds. You're not going to get away from. You're going to have some 45-10s. You just are.
I mean, you probably even have it in baseball. I mean, I would think in the regionals, there's
and
probably
college
some
football is
12
just
to 3s.
College football in general is a blowout sport.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, college.
We love it, but there's a lot of blowouts.
Well, college athletics they're not like the pro sport. The pro sports, there's a modicum of parity because if you make the big leagues in any of the sports, you're pretty damn good.
You're world class.
Yeah, that's correct. And in college, it's just not like that.
Yeah.
In college, when Alabama plays an early game in the year against Charleston Southern, it's going to be 55-10. It just is, and that's just the way. And Charleston Southern gets their money, so it's part of the food chain, and it works. And so, the tournaments are like that too. When the team from the Southland Conference gets into the NCAA tournament, they're thrilled. Okay, I mean, and they should be thrilled. You win the SWAC, you should be thrilled. Now Duke's about to put 101-68 on you, but that's okay. That doesn't change the charm of getting there and practicing in the morning, and everybody shows up. You play in the big arena. I think that's
on national TV.
On national TV. So I think all of that is the college football world, not as quite as extreme, is going to live through some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think in future years, not to knock any of these schools, and again, I know they've had to hear it for a month, but it just from a brand standpoint, this isn't even warranting the resumes because obviously that's been disproven anyway by how poorly Alabama and South Carolina played in their bowl games. But just I think moving forward, the committee will have more to work with. Because I don't think you're going to see Indiana come back next year and be right back in this thing. I don't think you're going to see Boise State or a team like Boise State be the 3 seed. So, but anyway, it's been a lot of fun. The game tonight, we've talked a lot about it. It's got a really charming old school feel where it should be an absolute slobber knocker. And then, obviously the skill involved in Texas, Ohio State tomorrow night is going to be spectacular to watch. And again, then you're off and running to 3 days of wild card weekend.
Is it going to rain at all tonight in Miami? Do you know? Yeah.
Is it? I don't know. I haven't looked.
I'm going to check.
I've not looked.
Yeah, I'm checking right now.
No, it looks very clear.
Oh, it's clear as can be. I don't want it clear. You know what I need tonight? I need a little mud. When Penn State plays Notre Dame, I'm going to need a little mud.
Yeah, you don't really think of Miami.
No, you really don't.
66 degrees. I did see a tweet. I don't know how true this is, but it was like the yacht trip was only till 3:30, but it was Drew Allard and friends hanging on a rented yacht in Miami.
Because of course.
Yes.
Wow.
Because of course.
Wonder what Coach's going to think all that.
I hope that was yesterday or not today.
By the way, speaking of that game tonight, so someone on Twitter it must have been the anniversary of the Florida championship game against Ohio State. So they had like a 26-minute.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing?
I didn't watch it, but I saw it.
Well, I did watch it because I'm sick that way, and I watched like all 26 minutes, beat their ass. But here's what I didn't realize, and you probably knew. You guys probably both knew this. I'm the dummy in the room. I didn't realize Marcus Freeman played for Ohio State. You probably y'all
Neither did
probably.
I never heard
Okay,
that.
okay. I didn't know that
He was on that team.
he made every tackle.
Oh,
He's,
did he
he's the
really?
only good player in the game. He was the only good player. Ted Ginn ran back the opening kickoff.
Right.
And then Ohio State made no more good plays the rest of the game, except for the fact that Marcus Freeman had 148 tackles.
How about that?
He made every tackle. And so I'm watching him. Deshaun Wynn goes, well, Marcus Freeman drills him. They throw it downfield. That's caught. Dallas Baker downfield. Marcus Freeman downfield with the tackle. Chris Leak drops the throw. Leak finally harassed Marcus Freeman on the blitz.
I did not know any of that.
He's like the middle linebacker, wore number 1, and he tackled everybody. He might have tackled fans, coaches. I mean, he was a tackle. And so, I mean, it was 41-14. Florida beat the heck out of him. But Marcus Freeman,
Maybe they should have put Marcus on offense.
Maybe
they
should.
would have had more than those 82 total yards.
Dude, I'm telling you. So I'm thinking, I guess it's the same Marcus Freeman, right? So I Googled because that's what I do.
Intrepid.
Yeah, and when I Googled, Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame football coach, played at Ohio State University. I had no idea. So
I had no idea.
So there you
either.
go. I thought you guys were gonna go. Well, duh.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I really didn't know. So,
I had no idea.
so there you go. In that game, Marcus Freeman tackled everybody. Just so you know that.
Well, now I'm definitely pulling for Marcus Freeman tonight because
he was. I'm telling you,
because that was a special night for the
and that
Gators.
was back when everybody wore the big shoulder pads. So the shoulder pads were about as big. They would not have fit in my garage.
Yeah,
They were,
sure.
So if you watch back tape, you'll see number 1 tackle everybody. The only tackles they made. He made I think he made every tackle for Ohio State in that game. So I did not know that he played at Ohio State. So there you go. That's free of charge.
I love it.
That's what I bring. Hey,
Yeah.
That's what you get when you on this program. That's the kind of stuff. I mean, could you have gone on much longer without knowing Marcus Freeman was a middle linebacker at Ohio State?
It is it's a great fun fact because as a Florida fan, all you remember is the blowout.
Yeah, that's right.
You remember feling bad for about 15 seconds
Right.
when they ran the kickoff back.
That's
And
right.
didn't he get hurt on the
He did.
celebration?
Ted Ginn got hurt.
His number. He was number 8 jumped on him.
Right.
He was number 7. Number 8 jumped on top of him, and he couldn't play the rest of the game.
Where I was sitting in the press box, it literally Ted Ginn was running towards me.
Yeah, same here.
And you kind of saw it right away. Like it looked awkward. And then when he got up, he was clearly not moving well. And that was I don't think it would have swayed the game, in terms of the result, but it definitely would have been closer had they had Ted Ginn the whole game.
Yeah, no question. So
I mean, it might have been 41-10.
It reminded me of that Super Bowl when Devin Hester took back the opening kickoff.
Right.
That's
and I
right.
think that might have been the last time they scored.
And those games were a month apart.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't even realize that.
So the national title game opened with Ted Ginn returning the kick for a score. And then the Super Bowl opened with Devin Hester doing it, and each team lost.
Got killed, too.
That's a great point. That's exactly right. So we'll talk a lot about that game tonight. Not as much the fact that Marcus Freeman made all the tackles in that game, unless I need a reason to bring that game up again, at which point then we might. But seriously, Penn State and Notre Dame, I'm very excited about it, and I never thought about it. I didn't until JJ said it. 5 straight nights of playoff football, which is really going to be an awful lot of fun. We'll talk about that. We'll leave the show with Trevor Lawrence only spoke to the media today. It's the first time we've had a chance to hear from Trevor, really since the concussion. He talked about El-Shaiz. He talked about being a dad. He talked about Doug Peterson. He talked about what happens moving forward. I thought good stuff. It's always,
I agree.
Always good stuff from Trevor. So we'll all talk about what jumped off the page for us the most when Trevor Lawrence spoke today to me. I'm glad he did that. Carson Beck in the portal. Do you see that?
I did see it. I think that's the smart decision.
Well, there's no question.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get way more money.
We had this conversation.
Yeah.
You and I and JJ, we had this conversation. If you're a 4th rounder, we decided you get $800,000 or whatever, what you're going to wind up making, or $1 million or 1.2 or something like that. You go to Miami and make 3.5, or whatever, Miami or whoever. I just saw Miami connected to it. It may not be Miami, but wherever you go.
I think it is Miami,
Yeah,
it makes a ton of
so
sense.
Miami gives you want Miami's $4 million, or do you want the $800,000 you're going to make to sit on the bench for the Browns? I mean,
Right.
It's a pretty
And
easy,
you could up your draft stock
Without
for next
a doubt.
season.
and you could get better by playing.
Well, there's no doubt that will go up. I mean, barring him
Right.
tearing his ACL in fall camp.
Right.
I mean, he had one of the worst seasons in college football this year.
He had a bad
from an
year.
expectation standpoint.
You're right. He had a bad year.
And so, I mean, if he goes in there and is 90% of what Cam Ward was, I mean, he'll be right back in the mix of top pick in the draft going into 26.
And Shannon Dawson's a great OC.
Yeah,
and
very
they
good
don't
point.
play a killer, we know they don't play a killer schedule like Georgia does. So I fully expect. I've been dogging Beck the entire season, but
now he's your guy.
Exactly, and
It's all
he's
different when
way
he's your
better
guy.
than Emory Williams. Okay, so if he does end up going to Miami, nothing official yet, but all signs are pointing to that. Then yeah, I think that Shannon Dawson and company will definitely help his draft stock for next year. They just made Cam Ward the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
Let's not forget
and
that.
that's a great point on Shannon Dawson. I mean, he can get the best out of a quarterback. That's a really good point. So we'll see if that's where.
Are you surprised that Georgia must not want him back?
I'm not surprised at that. I think there's a time when it's time to go do it somewhere else. Remember, he was there a long time. He was behind Stetson Bennett both those years. He did quarterback both years. So I don't know that I see it because it's a great question. I hear you. Hays, I don't know if I see it as much as we don't want you back as sometimes it's time to go do it somewhere else for both parties. And I think, and that's what I think. I mean, remember he was criticized and he wasn't, and he waited his turn. And I'm not surprised at all that it happened this way. I don't know if I answered your question or not.
No, you did. I think Georgia is the one that's saying you probably need to move on.
My guess is
because
both.
For Carson, I would say this: if you're not going to be able to participate in spring, and he's not going to be able to, then I think you would want to be in the familiar place. Because if he misses spring practice for Georgia, it doesn't really matter. He started 24 games for the Bulldogs by now, maybe more. You're going to a new place, new system, and you're not going to be able to really rep it until July if you're cleared by July. That would be my only thing. So that's why I'm assuming Kirby Smart said, Carson, we appreciate what you've done, but probably be better for you to go somewhere else. But that leads to, what is Kirby's plan at quarterback?
Yeah,
is it Gunnar Stockton, or does he have or is it Ewers?
Yeah, and you know what? We'll talk all about that. It's a great topic. You're right, Hays. But as far as Carson goes, first of all, he got the Ferrari or whatever it was he got.
Yeah, Lamborghini.
He got the Lamborghini and all the money. They probably weren't doing that again. It probably was time. And look, if let's say he lands at Miami. JJ's point about Shannon Dawson's, he's really a good coach. I mean, that you're right about that. He's a really good coach, so that's part of it. And look, your guys are running down, out, and ups against Duke and Wake Forest cornerbacks now, not against LSU and Alabama cornerbacks.
I saw his
that
stats
matters.
against SEC teams this year. He had 12 touchdowns, 12 picks.
Yeah, and you're not, again, I'm not trying to, slam the ACC, but the reality is,
there's no doubt.
You're running down, out, and downs against.
There's better defensive talent in the SEC.
Well, it's not even close.
I mean, just look at the NFL draft over the last 10 years.
So that helps. A really good, and by the way,
good O-line at Miami.
And I would think Shannon Dawson's a more creative play caller than Mike Bobo. And I'm not Georgia's better than you at most spots, no matter who you are. But I don't know that their play caller is better than you. Mike's an old school guy, and he doesn't have to be a great play caller because his players are always better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember, since my buddy Todd Monken left, they haven't won one. They won 2 with him. So
it'd be amazing if we get Miami, Georgia in the playoff.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be? And Carson Beck.
If that's where he ends up. But it seems like the Pete Thamels and everybody are basically saying
he does date one of the former Miami basketball players. He seems like a guy who enjoys the nicer things in life.
Yeah. Oh, and
so I think maybe Miami might be pretty nice for him compared to,
got Miami written all over.
compared to Athens, Georgia.
So we got a lot of things to talk about. Let's talk about Trevor Lawrence when we come back, some of the comments he made. We'll talk about the Jags search. More and more names are starting to surface. We'll talk about that coming up on the program today. Later on, the NFL continues to be busy. Tom Telesco fired from the Raiders right after Antonio Pierce is fired.
My theory is gaining some steam in Vegas, baby.
I'm not going to lie to you. I've got my own theory. It wouldn't be nearly as cockamamie as yours. I think Brady takes over as both the GM and coach. And by the way, why not quarterback if he's going to do it all? So we'll see.
Belichick in the silver and black.
We'll talk about that.
The autumn wind.
It went autumn wind. We got a lot to do. Glad you're with us on this Thursday. Our Thursdays are always brought to you by our friends at Stanley Pools. This is 1010XL on 92.5 FM.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
The Dolphins' 2-game trip to Kentucky starts tonight in Louisville. J.U. Bellerman, 6:30 on 1010 a.m.
Start the new year with a fresh look for your home. It's the Renewal by Andersen New Year's Sales Event. For a limited time, save 20% off on our energy-efficient windows and patio doors designed to keep your home comfortable year-round and your energy bills down. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation. But hurry, the special New Year's offer won't last. License number CGC 1527613.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Find your New Year stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start. And check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a 50% bump on your first deposit. For a limited time, MyBookie will add 50% to your initial deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Texans are a 3-point home underdog to the Chargers. The Ravens are a 9.5-point favorite over the visiting Steelers. The Eagles, a 5-point favorite at home over the Packers. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a 50% bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
D1 Training East Jacksonville invites you to their mega NFL football camp at the Bowl School February 1st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Ages 7 through 16. Get hands-on coaching from former NFL players at every single station. The coaches lineup put together by Connor and Sam at D1 is proudly sponsored by Tim Tebow. To sign up, call 904-901-6470.
Get this thing unwrapped here. Duval!
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, Dan. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Daily Stash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, like me. I'm sure there's a Daily Stash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course,
oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it," and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Daily Stash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Daily Stash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
He wore 56 and played a key role in their best season ever.
I'm your tape translator, Jeff Loggeman, on Check the Tape Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Napa Auto Care. Tuesdays during football season on 1010XL.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
These are interesting economic times. That's why it's so important to have someone you can count on. That's ITP Partners. Jacksonville folks taking care of our Jacksonville money. Experience? You best believe you want to give your hard-earned money to folks you trust. Jeff Hartman, Chris Bryan, Dan Abel, Reed Wingate, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reagan Wright have the expertise and knowledge to help clients in their financial lives, focusing on investment management, financial planning, and risk management. ITP Partners. Financial partners for life. Securities offered through American Portfolios Financial Services, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Tailgate special alert. 3 pounds of marinated chicken, 2 pounds of marinated steak tips, 2 pounds of fresh ground beef, and 2 pounds of homemade sausage for only $80 to feed your crew.
For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Yeah, I think it's great. It seems like every, it's you never know what's going to happen, how everything's going to unfold, but it seems like, we're doing all the right things as far as talking to all the right people and all the big name candidates that are out there. It seems like they're on the list. So beyond that, I don't really have much else for you, honestly. So, but yeah, it's exciting, I think, for seeing the list and the potential candidates. I don't know any of those people personally, really, so it's kind of hard to say. I don't really necessarily have an opinion.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
We sure appreciate our friends from Stanley Pools. They do a fantastic job. Since 1988, they have been the stop for pools in town. 904-269-7277. They built our pools, renovated it. They service our pool, and my goodness, I trust them. I've known Greg long time. Old baseball player from JU, and just one of the good guys out there. The reputable pool company in town, I promise you. That is Stanley Pools, and we thank them very, very much. You heard the comments of Trevor Lawrence talking about the job search, or the coaching search, I should say. We'll get into the candidates and how that seems to be, names continue to get added to it in a bit. But let's start with Trevor. He met with the media for the first time. I'm glad they did that. I'm glad he did it. What stood out? I got a bunch of comments I wrote down, but let's start with you, Hays. What stood out from Trevor's comments today to you?
Well, he was very appreciative of Doug Peterson, and particularly his first year here. Trevor really, I thought, was very detailed about the nightmare that was his rookie year, in a little bit more depth and description than maybe what he's used in the past. So I thought that was really interesting. But eventually he got to, we need a more hard-nosed, gritty team here. We need more juice in this place, and I thought that was really interesting. And so, I would agree with that. So I think he's got a good hold on things.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let me run through all the things that kind of jumped out to me. The comment about Doug, he stabilized things. It was Trevor came as close as he ever came to revealing what a nightmare it was during the Urban year. And that's as close as he ever came to saying it. And Doug came in and stable. Doug's a grown-up, and he treated him as grown-ups, and he stabilized that, and I agree with that. He also said, addressing the predictability, he said, look, the problem is we couldn't run the ball. I haven't heard anybody say that in totality when looking back at the season. We mentioned a few times after games when they did run very well, and haven't heard anybody look back and say, listen, we were predictable because we couldn't run, so you knew we had to pass, and there's only so much passing you can do, which was a really good point. The fact that he really pointed out the inability to run the football. I thought that was a great comment because I hadn't thought about it until he said it, so you're exactly right about that. I noticed the other thing you said, too. This has to be a tough football team. And he said that's on all of us. That's on coaches, players. A lot of that's on us. There's a toughness that we didn't play with this year, or he implied that. And that comment really stood out to me as well. So of all the things, Doug stabilizing, you pointed that out. Got to find a way to run the football. That stood out to me. We got to be tough. That stood out. And that is a segue to his conversation about the new coach. He said, listen, if a defensive, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, if a defensive guy makes us tougher, then that's what we need. He said, I'm partial to offense, which you would expect him to say, but he's honest about that. And he's in the excitement of a young offensive guy. He said, but first and foremost, who can make us play with the toughness. So I agree with you, Hays. Those are the things that stood out to me. I sense, and maybe this is just reading into it a little. I felt like, say this the right way, because I've never thought he wasn't grown up. He's always been grown up. He's only 25 years old. But I sensed a more mature Trevor today. I say that almost makes it sound like in the past I thought he was immature. I don't think that at all. But you do grow up. You do mature. You do sound like the leader of the locker room. You do sound like there's a time when it becomes that guy's team. The minute you drafted Trevor Lawrence, at some point it was going to be Trevor's team. But you don't know. I don't know that it got there. It had gotten there yet. Today, I felt like we all waited for him to talk. He walked into that media room today. He had his dad hat on. He was poised. And I think honestly, Hays, I think that felt like the head of the president of the company. That's the first time I remember thinking that's the president of the company. That's the guy who says, okay, let's gather everybody around. And I think part of that is he's gone through 2 fired coaches. He's only 25 years old, and he's gone through 2 coaches getting fired. Okay, he's also gone through 2 coaches at the franchise for the first time. Urban Meyer got here for the first time. Doug Peterson was here for the first time. He's been through. He hears the noise in the system. He hears the criticism of him, of the team. He knows that. Oh, and by the way, he went through a physical, horrible play that sent him to a concussion protocol for the second time in 2 years. He's played through a number of injuries. He's hurt. He's seen a lot of his teammates get injured. He had 2 years ago one of the most dramatic end seasons anybody can have, including coming back from the big deficit against the Chargers to ending with a very disappointing season that ended with a brutal injury. He's seen a lot. He's experienced a lot for 25 years old. And I see a player, a man that has matured through all of that. And that's what I saw. Am I reading too much into that today? Sometimes we read into it. We see what we want to see or think we see. But I felt that watching him today.
No, I think he was accountable, which is obviously the first sign of maturity in a player. Trevor admits that it's not like it's gone perfect for him. He hasn't been healthy. So I think he takes accountability, which is sort of the entry code to the building of leadership. And, I think in everything else that he talks about, is very organization first and, but also from an honest perspective of the improvement that needs to happen. What I would say for Trevor Lawrence is I don't think quarterbacks look at necessarily other teams and their situations, but they do look at the other quarterbacks in the league and their specific situations and things they've gone through. And I would imagine that Trevor Lawrence would like to see something happen here, like what has happened with Justin Herbert in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Now, I don't know that there is a Jim Harbaugh among this group of candidates. He's obviously got a special resume, but the idea of what Harbaugh brought to the Chargers is what needs to be brought here. And it can be a defensive coach that does it. It does not have to be an offensive coach. But obviously, I can certainly see why Trevor would want that. I would like to see it be an offensive coach, ideally. But this is a team that needs to get physical. They need to play defense. The defense is atrocious, and it shouldn't be. They've got too much talent to be atrocious defensively. They do need to run the ball. So I don't think it's Trevor trying to take any sort of emphasis off of him. But look at any championship program in the NFL. Normally, you're going to have to play great defense, and you're going to have to run the ball. I mean, very, very infrequently can you win the Lombardi Trophy playing average defense and relying on your quarterback to throw it 50 times a game with very, very little on the ground. It just isn't how football is built. And so, I think the Jaguars would be well served to take that model. Look at Justin Herbert. They're basically about the same age. Herbert's been in the league a little longer, but basically the same age. Herbert was sort of viewed as an underachiever, but he had Brandon Staley as his head coach, who Doug Peterson is light years better than. But my point is, Staley really didn't build much of, even though he was a defensive coach, didn't really build much of a toughness there. They couldn't finish it all, as we saw here in the playoffs. And they needed a step up in toughness and in physicality on the offensive side. Jim Harbaugh comes in. He gets rid of all the receivers, and everybody's like, what are you doing? He takes Joe Alt in the first round to play right tackle. They make a commitment to the trenches, And you look at them now, they're a road favorite in the wild card round of the playoffs to advance to the Elite Eight. So that is the model that I think Trevor Lawrence is probably in his comments is alluding to is, hey, look at what Justin Herbert got. And there's a lot of comparisons to my early years in the NFL and Justin Herbert's early years in the NFL. And you look at Herbert now in his first year with Harbaugh, he's a dark horse MVP candidate. He's not going to win the MVP, but if you look around the league, there's a lot of people that believe Justin Herbert has had a top 5 MVP kind of season for the Chargers.
Let me tell you how good I never thought about that till you said it, but it's a great comparison. I'll show you the size. They're 6'6", they're big arms, very athletic guys. Jim Harbaugh got to Justin Herbert before his 5th year in the league. In his 4th year in the league, he got hurt and missed 4 games. And Jim Harbaugh got him. So by the time Jim Harbaugh got him, he was 25 years old and had seen some things. Urban Meyer, not that he would have done much anyway, but he got a rookie in Trevor Lawrence. Doug Peterson got a guy that had been in the league 1 year, but it was sort of a lost year because he was under Urban Meyer.
And he was shell-shocked,
yeah, and
correct?
No question he was shell-shocked. So by the time it's a great comparison. I never thought about it till you made it. But Justin Herbert, by the time Jim Harbaugh got him, he was mid-20s. He was going into his 5th year as the starter, as the player and the starter. He had seen things. He was more of a grown-up. Same thing here. Whoever this next coach is gets Trevor Lawrence going into his 5th year after a 4th year where he missed some games. Boy, the comparison's really dead on if you think about that. Justin Herbert right now is 26 years old. Trevor Lawrence is 25 years old. Again, we're talking about 1 year later. So, I mean, the comparisons, Justin Herbert played all last year in his 26-year-old year. Trevor will play most of next year as a 26-year-old. So the comparisons they're really dead on. And now you got to get the same kind of coach for the story to end the same way, or to continue the same way, I should say. It's not over. But, yeah, that's a really good point. I'm just telling you, I saw Trevor today, and I love the comparison to Herbert because I'll bet you someone who saw Justin Herbert before last year saw, hey, you know what? He looks like an NFL quarterback. He sounds like an NFL quarterback now. He doesn't sound like a wide-eyed young guy who's going to be a very good NFL quarterback. That's what I heard from Trevor today, a guy that, okay, it's my team. I've been through 2 coaches now. I've been through 4 years now. I've been through about every kind of injury you can have now. I'm still standing. Let's go. I'm now a father. I'm a grown-up. Let's go. So that's what I took out of it. And the comparison to Justin Herbert is a really good one. So we'll see. We'll see. And it depends on which coach you wind up getting, and it depends on – my guess is this. Of the list – we're gonna go through the list after the break. But of the list we've seen, Hays, I would think there's something to glean for Trevor Lawrence from every candidate we've seen on there. These defensive guys do have a toughness to them. If you look – Spags is the latest. We'll get to him in a minute. But Aaron Glenn and Brian Flores and the defensive guy, the defensive names we keep seeing, they're tough guys, man. And that's one thing Trevor talked about, and they will help Trevor reach that goal of having a tough team. The offensive guys are great offensive minds. It'd be great to have Harbaugh, who, oh, by the way, is both. Jim Harbaugh is both. Jim Harbaugh wants you to play tough football. He's a grind it, run it, have better linemen than you have, and be tougher than you. And, oh, by the way, he's a wonderful play caller and offensive mind. So you don't find that it's one of the reasons he's one of the best coaches of our generation. Now, we lose sight of how good he is. This guy won a national championship in college and went to an NFL Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick, who is a quarterback who never got another chance. Now, again, you can say there's political reasons why he did, and we'll have that conversation forever. But you get the point, though. He got the 49ers to a Super Bowl against his brother, of all things.
Yeah,
and he
won at Stanford.
Yeah, and he won at Stanford. Forgot. You know what? Might be the better case than the other two. So we'll see what happens. But it was great hearing Trevor. It was just great seeing Trevor back around. Great seeing Trevor back in the building, wasn't it? Great seeing. Okay, Trevor's good. It was a brutal injury. By the way, shame on the guy for not reaching out.
Yeah.
And Trevor, always the high road, says he's not going to expound on it. He says, how do you not reach out?
Yeah.
How do you, if you want to tell everybody you're not a bad guy and you play hard, send a note. Hey, bro, sorry it happened the way it did. He remember the one text he sent out, Alshier, when he was Aziz Alshier, who hit him when he was proud of it. I talked to Trevor before the game. I said, it's great to have you back, like they were buddies. Well, guess what? If you're in the middle of all that, not to grandstand, not to go show everybody you did it, quietly send a text. Hey, man, I hope you're okay.
Right.
Sorry I played out the way it did. And he's never reached out one time. Tells me more about him.
Yeah.
We'll take a break. Let's talk coaching search after this. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
What's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T here, and it's a brand new year, which means a brand new you, especially in the bedroom. So if you're ready to make 2025 the year to level up where it counts, let me make it a little easier for you. Get yourself some Blue Chew. They've got a chewable tablet that has the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin. That means you're getting top-tier performance, my boy, without leaving the house. Blue Chew comes right to your front door in a discreet package, so your neighbors won't even know what's going on. But you will. No doctor's offices and no pharmacy run. Just licensed medical providers helping you find the right prescription. And guess what? They're made right here in the USA. Oh, and did I mention it's free? Yeah, you heard me. Your first month is free. So what you waiting for? Visit BlueChew.com and get a consultation. And start your year off with confidence to keep things interesting in that bedroom. Get that Blue Chew at BlueChew.com, baby. Let's make this year unforgettable.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. The newest baseball hobby box to release is this week's 2024 Archives. On average, each hobby box promises 2 on-card autograph cards. And the throwback card books have designs from 61, 70, and 1994. It's Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Mia here. Why Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned? I'll tell you why. Over 600 vehicles in stock right now. That's 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups on the ground in stock, one location. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18,000. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program is now double. That's 60 days to love it or exchange it. Plus, Arlington's Credit for Everyone program. Shop 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or arlingtontoyota.com.
Football's heating up. The NBA is back. And on Hard Rock Bet, you can bet every sport. Even combine all your sports into one bet. One Florida bettor put $50 on a combo parlay and won more than $100,000. And they tacked on another $10,000 to that win with a daily profit boost. Promos every day for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Win your first bet or get up to $100 back in bonus bets. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Bowl season brings the holiday feeling.
Deck the halls, deck the halls.
When you play 1010XL's Ultimate Bowl Challenge, you've got the chance to win $1,000 in jewelry from Beard's Diamonds. Log on to 1010XL.com and start picking.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
Pick it here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island is excited to announce an all-new happy hour, 7 days a week. You heard right. Every day from 3 until 6 p.m. and again from 9 until close. Barley and Pie has deals you can't resist. 2-for-1 clay lights, 2-for-1 house wines, and much more. Experience the all-new happy hour at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island.
Pickett here with a message from Zero Res. Did you have people over for the holidays? Kids everywhere, dirt everywhere, all over the carpets, the rugs, the sofas, and chairs? Did the kitchen towel take a beating? Sounds like it's time to call my guys over at Zero Res. The Zero Res techs will get the house looking great again. Folks, if you need help cleaning up after the holiday, give Zero Res a call. Right now, 25% off carpet cleaning, 25% off upholstery cleaning. Zero Res. Spell it forwards. Zero Res. Spell it backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it. they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul, call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
As it was his first time in a while speaking in front of the media, everyone has been on the edge of their seat to hear Trevor Lawrence's opinion on the recent changes within the organization, as well as what he hopes for in the future. Trevor was asked what type of leader and philosophy he would like to see in his next head coach bring to the franchise.
I'm an offensive guy. I'm a quarterback. So I think from that standpoint, sounds great having a young offensive coach that can bring the system in and that we can just grow together and have that system in place for years to come. But I think just as far as a leader, you want the right guy that's going to be the right leader and voice for your team and set that culture and just to be a tough team.
I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Stanley Pools Thursday on The Frangie Show. Since 1988, the experts in pools, pavers, screen enclosures, it's Stanley Pools.
We sure appreciate our friends from Stanley Pools. They do a fantastic job. The name in pools in Jacksonville, you should know it by now. Stanley Pools. Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports joins us at the top of the hour. He is at is he at the Cotton Bowl? He's at the Cotton Bowl, right? So he'll preview. We'll talk a little bit about the Orange Bowl, but then certainly preview the Cotton Bowl. Talk about where he will be. That is Texas, Ohio State tomorrow night. We'll get a little thoughts on Notre Dame and Penn State from him as well. That's our Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Report. That comes up in about 20 minutes or so. The Steve Spagnuolo got added to the list. That's a name. That's the first. Patrick Graham surprised me too. But Spags surprised me a little bit. I love Spags. He's a really good coach. He's 65, so he's not a kid. He was the defensive coordinator, obviously, under Tom Coughlin, and did very well with the Giants. Won a title there, went back later in his career and was a coordinator there. In between, he was a head coach of the Rams when they were in St. Louis. Didn't do great as a head coach, but he's a really respected football coach. You all know now he's been with the Chiefs and helping them win Super Bowls. What do you think of Spags being on the list?
I think it's incredibly smart. It's a brilliant move. He'd be a fine hire.
Agreed.
And I mean, what Kansas City has done, going from this prolific offense with this young quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, that took the league by storm, and the last 2 years becoming more of a defensive-minded unit, it's because of Spags. I mean, it is amazing the job that he has done with Kansas City's defense. I mean, they're the reason they won the Super Bowl last year, and they're the reason. I think they're the primary reason that the Chiefs are the 1 seed again. I mean, they are just nasty defensively, and they can adjust to whatever offensively that you're trying to show them. He's got an answer for. And it's very easy to tell watching them play that his players understand their assignment and they go and execute it at a very high level. And whether it's the run game, the short passing game, the deep shots, the Chiefs don't get fooled. And that's a credit to him. And yeah, I do think it's beneficial that he does have head coaching experience. It's been a while now. His last year was 2017, but certainly that is helpful that he would have that experience. But I also think from a credibility standpoint, every player knows who he is. Like, that's one that of the active coaches in the NFL, and I'm including head coaches, of the active coaches in this league, in terms of guys that can walk into a room and players immediately are going to kind of perk up and be like, wow. Spags, I think, is top 20 on that list, which for a defensive coordinator speaks worlds about his ability. And he might even be more like top 15. I mean, he is a defensive whiz. So, I think it's great to bring him in. I think it's worthwhile to really consider him. But at the very least, what a resource, to get his evaluation on things that you're doing, your talent, where, he believes it should go. The key in interviewing in this game is the Jaguars are going to have to make it seem immediately like he's got a viable shot at the job. Once you have clued the candidate in on that, then the brain drain can begin. But if he gets a hint, and he's done this for a long time, if he gets a hint that it's, a cursory interview, that he's not really a guy that has much of a chance at it, I don't know that he's going to be as forthcoming. But I think he's somebody that absolutely, if he's the coach, I think the Jaguars would be in fantastic shape. I question whether he would take it, but if you can get him, absolutely. Yeah. Like, he's not even a guy I really considered. Yeah. Because I just figured, for him to leave the situation he has in Kansas City, right, it would take something remarkable. But, and maybe he even could be Andy Reid's successor. You never know if maybe that's been talked about, Andy Reid retiring and Spags becoming the Chiefs coach, which obviously if that's what is your situation, then that's where you would stay because you got Patrick Mahomes. But I think the world of him. I could not recommend him more.
Yeah, I ditto on everything you said. Let me say this. I don't believe there's one person that will take that interview and wouldn't take the job. None of them. Ben Johnson, Spags. I think if you take the interview, you want the job. Now, everyone says, well, Ben Johnson might say, I'll take the job if I don't believe that. I can remember, now I'm not comparing him to Ben Johnson, but I can remember 3 years ago, whenever when people said, well, Leftwich would take the job, but he won't take it if Balky's here. That wasn't even close to correct. They were never close to offering the job to Byron Leftwich. He was not going to be the coach here. They interviewed him, but do you remember all that talk? And he wanted to bring in his own guy, and that
right,
was
the Arizona Cardinal, Adrian Wilson.
If he brought it, it was none of that was ever. That stuff gets out there in the universe. Hays, it was not even. I can tell you, and I tried to say it on the air then. It was not even close to true. Wasn't even close. So I don't believe number one, not every job's got flaws. There's 32 of these in the world. Every football coach, the high school coach in Macon, Georgia, wants to one day be an NFL head coach. And it's the dream of all dreams of anybody who's ever coached the sport. And if you get a chance to have one of those jobs, and then you throw in young quarterback who might be great, premier pass rushers on both sides, both offensive tackles are signed, a young receiver who might be all the rage, a cornerback who's already signed, an owner who doesn't meddle, no state income tax. You know the drill. Brand new practice facility just built, brand new stadium coming in 3 years. Are you kidding me? There's nobody on that list that's not taking this job. Yes, is it conceivable that some people won't want to interview for it? Because, I've done that. Been there, done that. I don't want to be a head coach. Yeah, I believe that. But if you're in this interview cycle, if you're taking the interview, you want the job. So there's nobody that's going to interview that doesn't want it. So I think they all will. I'm with you on Spags. Listen, I'll say this. There's not a whole lot of coaches on here that if they hired him, I'd go, what are they doing? I would be more nervous, and I have said this before, about the younger guys who haven't been head coaches. I would be nervous, and that includes Ben Johnson. But history tells us that if you get the right one, if you get Kevin O'Connell, or if you get Sean McVay, or if you get Kyle Shanahan, if you get the right young guy,
or LaFleur,
or LaFleur, if you get the right young guy that's never been a head coach before, but has the right makeup, it doesn't matter. And we've seen evidence of that now. Kevin Stefanski. They struggled last year, but he's a pretty good football coach.
He's coach of the year twice.
Right. Yeah. So that's 5 guys that had never been a head coach before, and all offensive-minded guys. It turned out pretty good. So we have evidence that it can work. So even though I'm nervous about it, we've seen enough of the evidence that it can really work. So we'll see. I still maintain it will go quickly. I think it's going to happen sooner than you think. I love the fact that they've been aggressive with it. I think the sooner, and remember, this isn't why you do it, but hear me out on this. This would not affect their decision making. But this is the team right now that's going to struggle a little bit to sell tickets. The reality is the sponsorship sales are off the chart. That group is so good. The business side under Mark Lamping is so good, so buttoned up. I know them all, man. And it's a buttoned up staff that knows what it's doing and is fair, and clients love dealing with them. It's really a good group. I'm not saying that because I work with them. I'm just telling you, it's a good group. So they've done a great job of bringing in the sponsorship, but they have no effect on on someone buying a ticket. They have no effect. You're going to buy a ticket if you want to buy a ticket. Okay. So, and I think people love the Jaguars. It's a great fan base, but there's enough pause now. And like it or not, the Trent Baalke thing is a bit toxic still. Not like it once was, but a little bit. But the minute you go hire Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen or whoever, and the minute that guy goes and wins that press conference, because the first-year coach, by the way, the new coach always wins the press conference, then I think you can start finding some positive momentum. It may not be the greatest momentum. It may not be what you had in 18 or 23, where you had great offseason momentum, but I think you'll find some momentum. And that's why I think the sooner you do it, the better. It's not about, and you're right, part of it is about scouting the Senior Bowl and scouting players and starting to talk free agency. That's part of a reason to do it quickly too. But the main reason, I think, or as important as any reason, is you create some positive momentum in the fan base that you don't have right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I do think it's a quality list of candidates. And looking at the list, yeah, I think that no matter who it is, I have my favorites, of course, but I think no matter who it is, they will bring a lot of impressive stuff to the job in their unique way, because obviously they're all a little bit different. I come back to it. To me, it is a shame that from a fan standpoint, it wasn't the clean slate, and I just mean the GM, not 85 other people, because I do think this fan base was so ready to explode. I think the fans see the talent on the roster. I think the fans still believe in Trevor Lawrence. They're wildly euphoric about Brian Thomas Jr., as they should be. They see two great edge players on defense. They see a corner. They see a fifth pick in the draft. They see a team that can spend in free agency if they choose. And they see some very reliable veterans when healthy in Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram, guys like that. That's, to me, it's this was a 3-foot putt that never even touched the hole that Shad missed. But again, that doesn't mean if you hire the right guy, that doesn't mean the next round of golf can't be a 64. And that's what you hope that it is, because I agree. I think the head coaching candidates that are on this list, if it's one of these guys that we already know they have an interest in, I think the Jaguars potentially could be in very good shape.
We'll take a break. Let's get into college football. Dennis Dodd checks in from the Cotton Bowl. He'll talk a little bit about the Orange Bowl tonight and the Cotton Bowl. He does a great job talking college football from CBS Sports. That's next. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your costs and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
Hey guys, I'm Greg McDowell, PGA Tour golfer, and you're listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM. Cheers.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Tax season is here, and your refund can go further at Big Chief Tire. Frank Frangie here. Put the extra cash to work by investing in your vehicle, whether it's overdue maintenance, brake repairs, or new tires. Their skilled technicians will help you get the most out of every dollar. With 5 Jacksonville locations, fair prices, and trusted service, Big Chief Tire has everything you need to hit the road with confidence. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 today. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Coke, Florida congratulates the Jacksonville Jaguars on a great 2024 season. As the local Coca-Cola bottler celebrating 10 years of business, Coke, Florida is proud to be the Jags' official beverage partner. From the season kickoff to the final touchdown, Coke, Florida's 5,000 associates and passionate fans have cheered on the Jags all season long. Coke, Florida and the Jags tackle game day with great taste.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick. Soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors. Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
The Jacksonville Icemen are back home this Friday and Saturday for Lizard Kings weekend. The Icemen throw it back to the 90s and pay tribute to the Lizard Kings by wearing special themed jerseys and a Lizard King bobblehead giveaway for the first 1,000 fans for Saturday's game. So relive your days from the Reptilian Pavilion Friday and Saturday at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena. Game time 7 o'clock. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksIceman.com or call 904-602-POP. Iceman Hockey is #Frozen Frenzy.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The Florida Forum Speaker Series welcomes New York Times bestselling author Deepak Chopra, moderated by Shad Khan, January 15th. For your chance to win tickets, text FORUM to the text line covered by Lifetime Flooring at 641-1010.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a professional stamp licker from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Martin Celery.
Oh, gosh. I can't wait to play, Bob.
Well, let's move things along. Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
Wait, but
That's right, Marty. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, we've stocked up on the remaining inventory of low-cost 2024 model air conditioners. So you win. We're passing the savings on to you.
Can I answer a question first?
We need to make room for the 25s, so we're offering great deals on AC replacements while supplies last.
Could I spin the wheel at least? I've been practicing for a year.
With last-minute deals like this, there's no question that you are cool.
What do I tell my kids?
There you go. Have a souvenir t-shirt.
Thanks.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Ammon, you're always talking about how clean air is healthy air. I've had this cold for weeks. Can cleaning my air ducts actually help?
Well, Dad, I'm not a doctor, and let's be honest, you probably caught that cold from one of your grandkids. But I can tell you this, the cleaner your air, the better you'll feel.
Makes sense, but what do air ducts have to do with it?
Your ducts are like the lungs of your home. If they're full of dust, allergens, and who knows what else, all that junk gets blown into the air you breathe, especially now that the heat's running. And the EPA says improving indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So you're telling me my vents are working harder than my immune system?
Exactly. That's why Zero Res is here. We're NADCA certified, and our truck mount system is the most powerful in the industry. Right now, we're even offering $100 off your total for January.
All right, sign me up. If it makes me feel better and keeps your mom off my back, I'm all in.
Good call, Dad.
Zero Res.
Spelled border backwards. It's the right way to clean.
CEROREC. Zero Res.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Gators men's basketball team had many players step up in their dominating performance against the #1 ranked Volunteers. This included junior guard Denzel Aberdeen, who came off the bench to help with foul trouble and found himself finishing the game with 16 points. Gators head coach Todd Golden spoke on Denzel's performance.
Denzel's super important to us, obviously doesn't start, but he's, the only other perimeter that's getting consistent minutes. And when he plays well, we're really, really good. And, I thought he did some good things last Saturday, but some things that we need more from him. And tonight we got more from him. He had 16 and 20 minutes. I thought he did a good job defensively, just had some really big moments that allowed us to continue to build the lead.
The Gators take the road to go play Arkansas Saturday at 4 o'clock. You can hear that game live on 1010XL 92.5 FM. It's 47 degrees at 5 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the College Football Insider, brought to you by the law firm of Woolsey Moorcock on The Frangie Show.
All right, it is time to talk a little college football. Our buddy Dennis Dodd checks in, great friend of the program. He is at the Cotton Bowl. We'll talk about both games coming up. Dennis, how are you, brother?
Frank, I'm great. How are you?
Man, we are great. And we are great. And hey, we were just talking about this a minute ago. I think this thing has been an overwhelming success. I know there's been blowouts. Well, there's blowouts in the NCAA tournament too, and there's blowouts in the first round of the FCS because you're supposed. I've loved how this has played. There have been some lousy games. How do you feel like it's worked, Dennis? I feel like it has.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Bill Hancock's here. He's just here as a fan with his wife, Nikki, the old executive director of the CFP.
Right.
And I said, it's worked out, hasn't it? It's like the game, the victory margin is just a function of the game. You can't control that. There's been plenty of lousy Super Bowls, playoffs. We know that. I think it added a lot to the season. I think the games were more compelling because of it. I wrote a story on November 1st saying that legitimately there were 45 or 50 teams in the running. And I called all the architects of the playoff except for, I think I didn't get Greg Sankey. I got Jack Swarbrick, Bob Bowlesby, and Craig Thompson, 3 commissioners, 3 out of the 4 that designed it. And they said, yeah, that sounds about right from what we did when they were first commissioned back in 2019. So, no, I had a pleasant time covering it. I thought it was fun.
Hey, Dennis, it's Hays Carlyon. Great to talk with you again. Do you think they'll tweak the format, the seating going into next year, or just leave it as it is?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly if they can do that one year to the next, or if it's even why. Let's let this thing settle. I think we all agree. We know what you're talking about. Ohio State's not the 8th-seeded team in this tournament. We know that. Nor should they have been. And, giving those top 4 seeds the conference champions, and, Boise State's in there getting a spot too. Not that they shouldn't. I'm just talking about the seeding. That could be addressed. But any real meaningful changes in terms of expansion, I think there will be. All of that comes in 26. In fact, everything's on the table beginning in 26. This was a stopgap to the end of this current contract with ESPN. So, yeah, I think they got time to get it right. And what the discussion we're having isn't terrible. I don't think it's been awful. Has Oregon had a tougher road? Yes. Has Ohio State had a tougher road? Yes. But those teams are going to have to play each other at some point anyway to get to this, to get to the championship game. So I'm fine with it.
Dennis Dodd with CBS Sports. What final thing? We'll get to these games in a minute. In 2 years, Dennis, do you think? I know I've heard 14, but doesn't 16 with no buys make more sense? Where do you think it's headed in 2 years?
Here's why it's going to be 14. ESPN, it's written into the contract, doesn't have to pay for 14. They would have to pay for 16 more. And I think at that point, it's like a law of diminishing returns. Like, is you're really going to get your return, talking about ESPN on those early round games, if the ratings aren't high enough. You're going to go against the NFL even more if you expand. And I do think they can expand. I told people I will stake my house on it. I think they're going to 14. I'm reading the tea leaves. But no, I don't think they're going to 16. I think the 14 leaves room for the SEC and Big Ten to get what they want, which is automatic qualifiers. Yeah. And we've already seen evidence of that. I wrote a story last month saying that the Big Ten is modeling not only a championship game for their league, but on that same Saturday, 6 seed versus 3 seed, 4 seed versus 5 seed, and the winners go. That's their automatic qualifier.
Dennis, you wrote a great story. I really enjoyed it. It's and you can find it at Dennis Dodd CBS is Dennis's X handle, Twitter handle, about the underdog role. And you talked to Bill Parcells and Vince Young and some other key players and key figures in this sport. What were some of your biggest takeaways from that underdog motivation angle?
Well, Texas, at least in its modern iteration, is never an underdog. I think in the last 3 years they've been an underdog maybe twice. In the last 3 years, they're 22-18-1 against the spread. To get to that number of games where they've been an underdog, you have to go back 10 years. They've only been an underdog in 42 total games since 2015. So what does that mean? 5.5-point underdog to Ohio State, playing at home, quote unquote, 3 hours from campus at AT&T Stadium, where a whole bunch of these Texas players have a lot of experience, not only beating Iowa State in the 2012 Big 12 championship game, but playing numerous high school championship games there. They're totally at home against the team that is playing really, really well. And Mac Brown's my go-to on this story because in terms of motivation for underdogs, we all know about Texas in 2005, national champion. Well, Vince Young was at the Heisman ceremony and really thought he was going to win. Reggie Bush won, and he picked up the phone and called the locker room and said, "Game on, guys. This is it. We're going to win this thing." That was their motivation. To the point that in the middle of that season, remember the Bush push game, Notre Dame,
yes,
USC? Texas as a whole, as a team, was watching it in their locker room after an Oklahoma State game, rooting openly for USC because they wanted to play the best, 1 versus 2. And so what does that mean now? It's the last, real quick, the last time Texas lost as an underdog was 3 years ago in that first game against Texas, that 1-point loss at DKR at Del Royal Stadium. So it's been a while.
It has been a while. The set with the scenes we have now, the 4. I love this Final Four, Dennis. This is Ara Parseghian and Joe Paterno and Darryl Royal and Woody Hayes and the traditional uniforms, and I freaking love this thing. I really do. Let's start with tonight's game. I know you're at the Cotton Bowl, but let's start with tonight's Orange Bowl game. How do you see it? They seem so similar to me. Maybe the hardest game of the tournament so far for me to pick. Penn State, Notre Dame. How do you see this game?
Well, let me preface this by first bragging. I have not missed a pick yet. I've got everything right.
All right. Good brag.
I have Ohio State winning. Yeah, I have Ohio State winning the whole thing over Notre Dame. So I'm picking Notre Dame. But what I can't factor from out here in snowy Dallas is this all of a sudden this flu thing. I think Notre Dame will win. They're kind of a squirrely team because it's almost, you try to nail them down on it's like handling water. It slips through your fingers. This is a team, guys, that has scored 50 points in the playoff, 26 in special teams. They had one touchdown drive against Georgia. It was 13 yards. Everything else was field goals, extra points, whatever. So, but I think that's why they're so hard to play against. But what do you want to stop? The defense is really, really good. Riley Leonard can win a game not throwing for 100 yards, but leading them in rushing. In this very small sample size. Over a whole season, absolutely not. But right now, they're on a roll. And if they're healthy enough, the flu hasn't gotten them so far, Penn State's definitely the more talented team. But I think Notre Dame right now with what Marcus Freeman has done is almost like this, and we've seen it before. Let's go back to New Rockne. They're almost like this anointed team that looks like they're going to do something special.
Yeah, without a doubt. And getting back to the Texas-Ohio State game, how do you think the Longhorns will try to contain Jeremiah Smith?
Yeah, I mean, basically Oregon was foolish enough to think they could single cover him. On the last touchdown that he scored, third touchdown, it was third, second or third, they forgot to cover him. He was wide open. The corner let him go, the safety let him go, and he was wide open. Even if you cover him, even if you double him, and it's an 18-year-old, he is physically superior than people that are covering him. In other words, he's 6'3", 225. He can high point the ball. It almost looks like a Nerf ball in his hand because his hands are so big. And Ohio State has woken up to the fact that, like, let's not make this complicated. We've got a dominant player. Let's throw it to him. And that opens up the running game. So I suspect they will try to lay a double coverage over him. But because this is arguably the best receiver room in the country, that's going to leave somebody else open. And Becca Okafor, who's their second best receiver. G. Scott, who's one of their top receivers, tight end. So other guys will be open. Will he go for 7 for 187? I don't know, but he's going to have an impact.
Dennis, and I don't know if you can tell yet because, like I said, it's snowing crazy there. But will it be packed with Texas fans, which is what I would imagine?
Yeah.
Will it be a road game for Ohio State, and how will that affect them?
That's the question, isn't it? I mean, it's, like I said home game. 3 hours from campus. Those people can drive. There's a bunch of them in the Dallas area. There's already, I guess, anecdotal evidence of people flying from the Northeast, from Ohio State, not being able to get here because of the weather. Now, I'm really curious to see what that looks like. Don't forget what Tennessee did at Ohio State when they were motivated to get into the shoe in that first-round game. They had, what was the percentage there, like 45%, something like that?
Yep.
So I would not discount, even though this game's in Texas. In fact, there's another number for you. Since 2019, Texas has played almost 3/4 of its games in the state of Texas, 57 out of 77. So that's kind of a home field advantage. So it'll be interesting to see how the crowd shows up tonight.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's a great stat. Let's get a thought from you on the Gators and Knowles. What as they move forward, what are your expectations? What's a fair expectation for Florida and Florida State in 2025, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's good for Billy. I said at the beginning of the season that I suggested that if he went 7-5, he ought to get a contract extension. And they've kind of gone up and down, and now they're up. They win 8. It's kind of a net win. There's some hope, a future there with DJ Lagway. I think they're going to be fine. I mean, the schedule is tough. Again, I think they just flipped the venues. I think it's the same.
That's right.
Conference schedule. They just flipped the venues this year, so that's going to be tough again. Florida State's a whole new remake. Obviously, none of us have ever seen a 13-1 team crater like that. They've had to redo the coaching staff. You saw what Mike Norvell did with his salary. That's kind of a new thing with Mike Gundy taking a pay cut, putting it towards the bottom line of the players. And the biggest thing is Florida State's not going to leave the ACC. I mean, you have Mike Alford telling people, no, we never said that. How about that? Like after all that, no, we never intended to leave. Yeah, because you didn't know where to go. How about that? So it's a rebuild at Florida State, but not something that can't be done. We've seen it. Indiana, Colorado, Ole Miss. It can be done.
And it's amazing. It'll be an entirely different Florida State team. I mean, their fans will have virtually no players they recognize. It's
right.
I mean, it's incredible how much kind of like Colorado, but it's amazing. Dennis, this team next year, FSU, will have no players of note that anybody recognizes.
Same for Bill Belichick in North Carolina. I mean, that's the challenge.
Yeah, so
you're going to have to completely rip the rug up and put down a new one. And it'll be fascinating. And look, the coaches that complain about it, I always say, give me the $9 million, I'll figure it out. The guys that are really committed. And I put Belichick among those. They're going to get it done.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy to see the world of college football. Nobody knows it better than our buddy Dennis Dodd from CBS. Dennis, enjoy snowy Dallas. Enjoy the ball game, man. We'll catch up with you. Thanks for taking some time.
All right, Frank Hayes, thank you.
All right, Dennis Dodd, what a good dude.
Absolutely.
A great dude and really, really knows college football. Really appreciate him taking some time to spend it with us. We've got headlines on the other side. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The NBA is on 1010XL.
Orlando looks to keep the magic going at home as the Bucks prance into town. Friday night at 7 on 1010 a.m.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and if I know anything about the dudes that listen to 1010, they've got their own list of toys that they'd like to have for Christmas. You've got some of them in your showroom.
We've got all of them. We've got the toys for them. We got the toys for the kids. We got go-karts, dirt bikes, side-by-sides, ATVs, you name it. We've got it, and we are ready for Christmas.
So you can shop for yourself and for your loved ones. It's all happening at Cycles of Jacksonville, online or on Atlantic near Regency.
There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
To catch more fish, you gotta think like a fish. Captain Kevin and the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show, reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services, and Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Hope everyone had a profitable NFL regular season betting with MyBookie. The college football playoff marches on with the football Final Four. Notre Dame is favored by 1.5 over Penn State Thursday night. The over-under for this game at MyBookie is 47 points. This matchup suggests a relatively close contest, and we know anything can happen. We're taking a look at betting the over here on points total. Friday night, Ohio State is the favorite team by 6 points against Texas. I'm going Longhorns here in a bit of an upset, but that's a lot of points. 6 points, I like Texas there. If you haven't signed up yet, sign up now at MyBookie and still get a 50% deposit bonus. That's half your money back on your first deposit up to $1,000. Your promo code is 1010XL. That's promo code 1010XL for a 50% deposit bonus. So make yourself some cash with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
The team at Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to book your next round of golf with us. At Hidden Hills, we love the game, and we'll provide you with a memorable golf experience at one of the most unique golf courses in North Florida. Check us out at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Denny Thompson here for Tyson Sound and Security. Transform your home into the ultimate entertainment hub. Whether you're hosting the big game inside or out on the patio, Tyson's top-tier surround sound systems will make you feel like you're at the stadium. Enjoy crystal clear sound and breathtaking visuals, all seamlessly installed by Tyson's experts. Get ready for game day and every day after. Visit our new showroom on US 17. Call 762-1000 or go to TysonSoundSecurity.com. Tyson, your home theater and security pros.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hair4me.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back to the Frangie Show. Frank Frangie is here along with JJ LaSilva. I am Hays Carlyon. Thank you to our friends at Harrell and Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call at 251-1111. Frank, Trevor Lawrence met with reporters today in his season-ending wrap-up press conference. He says the Jaguars need a more hard-nosed, gritty team here, need more juice in this place, need to run the ball.
Yeah, and he said the juice is that's on all of us. He said it's not just a coaching change thing. That's it's on players. It's on everybody here. And yeah, when he was asked about the predictability, he said, "Listen, we couldn't run it, and so because we couldn't run it, of course you're predictable. Once you can't run it, you're predictable." And I agree with him. I thought it was a fair point. I thought he was fantastic today. I think that's a grown man that was talking, and that's the leader of the team, and it's his team, and it felt that way today to me more than it had any other time.
The Jaguars have added a couple bright defensive minds to their coaching interview request list. Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores and Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo. Two really impressive guys. What do you think about that?
I like them all, man. I know company guy, but there's not one guy on this whole list where I go, ugh, please don't do that. Ugh, please don't do that. I don't feel that about any of these guys. I think all the guys, there's reason all of these guys would be in play for whomever. Those defensive guys are really good defensive coordinators. Those offensive guys are really good offensive coordinators. Now, how will they do as a leader of men? Spags and Flores have both had a chance, did not do well as a head coach, but that doesn't mean they won't do well the next time around. They're outstanding defensive minds. Most of the guys on the offensive side that we're seeing have not been head coaches before. So you got some defensive guys that have done it before and some offensive guys that have not, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Are you surprised at all that Mike Vrabel was never in play here?
No,
at least
because
I say never.
Yeah.
They might have requested he didn't want it.
We're going to get to Vrabel, but I think the die was cast for the Patriots right out of the gate.
I kind of do too.
I mean, they flew through the process.
Yeah, you're right.
But he would. I think he would have been fantastic, but I don't think he ever had anybody else in mind other than New England. Brian Thomas Jr. was named NFL Rookie of the Month for December-January. Thomas was one of two players in the league with at least 45 catches and 500 receiving yards with 5 touchdowns in that period, joining Jamar Chase.
And playing with a backup quarterback. And that's no knock on Mac, but he's the backup quarterback. My God, is this guy Brian Thomas Jr. good? That's the story. We can add as many sidebars to it as we want. My God, is he a good player? Not a good rookie, a good player.
Let's get it back to the Patriots. They had announced just a few minutes ago they have concluded an interview with Mike Vrabel. The consequences of that, Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, has already withdrawn from his Patriots interview, so he clearly sees the writing on the wall. Glenn does have 5 other interviews set up. The Jaguars are among those, but it seems like now just a matter of time before Mike Vrabel is announced as the Patriots head coach.
I agree. They've gone through the Rooney Rule. They've gone through the process. I think the reason they fired Gerard Mayo after 1 year was so they could go hire Mike Vrabel. I don't think there's much mystery to that one anymore, and I think he's a really good coach. I think it's a good hire. I'll say this about Aaron Glenn's decision to pull out of that interview. You know what? Interviewing's hard. You have to be prepared. You have to know the team. You have to know who's interviewing you.
And if you've got 6.
And you've got a handful of them to do. I'll tell you the story before. Todd Monken, who's going to interview here, interviewed to be the coordinator under Doug Marrone. I told the story the other day. I think I told it the other day. Mm-hmm. And he had interviewed for the Jets head job the day before. And he interviewed here, and I remember when I was driving out of here, I called him. I had to go say I did lousy. I said, I doubt that. He said, nah, I did a lousy job. This is when Marrone interviewed him for the coordinator. He said, I had interviewed with New York yesterday for the head job. I was exhausted. I turned around. I just didn't do a very good job. Well, I talked to Marrone, and Marrone said that's not true. He did a really good job. But the point was he was exhausted. Mm-hmm. And that was 2 interviews. Can you imagine having 5 or 6?
Yeah, because, they usually, these things can take like 8 hours.
Yeah.
So, if you've got 6 of them, and you're in the middle of a playoff run.
Hard to manage.
I can totally see why Aaron Glenn would be like, I'm not going to waste my time with New England. I think they know who they are hiring. Let's get it to a little contract talk in the NFL. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan and GM John Lynch are motivated to get quarterback Brock Purdy's extension done soon. The 25-year-old Purdy is 23-13 as a starter with 67 touchdowns to 27 interceptions. He's also 4-2 in the playoffs with 6 touchdowns to 1 pick. Do you agree that 49ers should lock up Brock Purdy as soon as possible?
200%. I think he's a really good player. I think he was so good early in his career. Wait till he really learns how to play. Any guy that's that good, and look, he was good without the great arm talent, without the fast legs, without being 6'5", 240 or whatever. He's just good at quarterback and good at football, man. Imagine how good he's going to be when he's not as good. I'm not saying he's good, but he's a modern day Montana. Sees the field, is smart, commands respect right out of the gate. Yes, I would lock him up for a long time if I was them. Good for them.
Yeah, absolutely. The Raiders have fired general manager Tom Telesco after 1 season, so a full clean sweep in Las Vegas. I'm not sure about the medical training and logistics staff and the 84 other employees there, but big sweeping changes with the Las Vegas Raiders. Is that maybe to get Bill Belichick?
No, but I will tell you, on a serious note, they've become as intriguing a franchise as there is out there. Obviously, Tom Brady's going to have his fingerprints all over that. He's a minority owner. But what will that mean? Will he hire somebody that in the off chance that he doesn't do what you think and hire Belichick, will he hire somebody he knows? Will he hire somebody from the Patriot family? Is there, what I mean? Well, I'm very intrigued. Will he get right now? He's got his gigantic contract to call games on Fox. Will he walk away from that and be more involved? I don't think so. But I'm really intrigued with where this is going to go.
Oh, I think, yeah. And there's a lot of people that believe he's not going to have a choice. He's going to have to give up the broadcasting. But to me, this does signal the Raiders are getting ready to make a big hire.
It feels that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, they surveyed the landscape for about 24 hours. Tom Telesco is well respected.
No question.
He is not a at all toxic GM. So for him to be a deal breaker, they must have a guy that they are absolutely willing to hand the keys to and say, go pick your general manager.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
It'll be interesting. Let's get to the NFL playoffs. Chargers at Texans. We will start there. Can Houston withstand LA's physical play?
Yeah, that'll be a good game. Houston's still pretty good. They leaked a lot of oil, and they're in the division that we're in, which isn't a very good division these days. But yeah, they can't. I think the Chargers are going to win, and I'll pick the Chargers to win. But I think that's a good one, Hayes. I think that one comes down to late in the fourth quarter.
Let's go Steelers at Ravens. The Ravens have ruled out Zay Flowers. We've been talking about him the last couple of days with the knee injury. So Baltimore will not have him. But the question is, can the Steelers score?
They cover Baltimore covered the 9.5 with ease. The Steelers, listen, they were 10-3, but you knew they weren't that good. And that's a credit to Mike Tomlin that he got that much out of them. That he got them to 10 wins that early on, but they haven't won a game in about a month and a half, and they're just okay. Listen, I'm the biggest Russell Wilson fan around. I loved him during his early years. I told you this. I called one of his college games when he was at Wisconsin. He's such a good player, but there's not much left there either. He got old fast. I think they have no chance. I think that game is 27-10.
Oh wow, yeah, it could be. Let's go Broncos at Bills. Can Denver's elite defense pressure Josh Allen enough to pull the upset?
No. The Bills and the Chiefs are headed on a collision course. The Ravens could mess that up, but it won't happen this weekend.
Packers at Eagles. Which quarterback do you trust the most?
I love that game. Jordan Love's very good. I trust a healthy Hurts more. The fact that I'm not convinced he's healthy, I know the propaganda is that he looks good in practice this week. He hadn't played in a while. And again, I told you this the other day. That team, of all the teams that are built around the skills of their quarterback, that one really is. I mean, some teams you could take out one quarterback and put another one in, and it's the same. Not him, not that team. That team's built around the stuff Jalen Hurts does, so they need a healthier. I'm going to pick Philadelphia, but I'm not sure how healthy he is.
Commanders at Bucks. Which defense do you trust in this matchup?
I think the Commanders are going to go in there and beat the Bucks. I that's the one upset or the one road team I think is going to go win the game. Well, I guess I picked the Chargers too. I think the Commanders are going to go in there and beat the Bucks. I'm kind of pulling for the Bucks. I just kind of like them nearby. I'm kind of pulling for them to stay for a while. But my guess is the Commanders go in there and win. What do you think about that one?
I like Tampa, but I think it might be the most entertaining game of the weekend. I think it's going to be 38-35. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. Vikings at Rams, two great receiving cores. Which one would you prefer to have?
The Vikings, because they got Jefferson.
Yeah.
I would take Jefferson and you over most receiving,
over Nakua and Cup.
Over most receiving cores in the league. I think the Vikings are pretty good. I know they got rolled by the Lions. The Lions were just it was one of those days.
Yeah.
And the Jags know all about getting rolled by the Lions. But I think the Vikings are going to win the game.
I will say Jordan Addison in Minnesota has really come on and been a great Robin to Jefferson's Batman. So something to watch. The Rams may do a pretty good job on Jefferson, but Addison is capable of putting up 150 with a couple of touchdowns. And the Rams have excellent receivers as well. But I agree with you. I like the Vikings group better. Let's get to college football. The playoff resumes tonight, the first semifinal. Penn State versus Notre Dame. Who do you like?
I can't wait to watch it. If they know what they're doing, they'll bring in rain and mud. They'll make them all wear black high tops.
They'll bring Beano Cook in.
Absolutely bring Beano in. Well said. That's the game I want. I'm really excited about that. I think Notre Dame's going to win. It's the hardest game to pick for me, but I think Notre Dame's going to win. And Hays, I don't know why, because I think Penn State's pretty good. These people that think Penn State is not good are wrong. I think Penn State's a little better defensively, a little more physical. I think Notre Dame's a little better offensively. I think it's a really, really, really good game. It's a coin flip, but I got to pick somebody, so I'll say the Irish.
Huge portal news today in the world of college football. Carson Beck, the Georgia quarterback, is putting off the NFL draft and instead will transfer to another school. Could Miami be his destination?
You're starting to hear he was going to be a third or fourth rounder, which meant he was going to have trouble getting to even $1 million guaranteed money, at least, or first contract money. He could get $3 or $4 million to go play in college one more year. And yeah, Miami's the one everybody talks about. He's from the state of Florida. Miami needs a quarterback. They've got an outstanding coordinator. JJ made that point earlier in the show, and Shannon Dawson, who, by the way, is going to get a head job at some point. I think Miami probably is the destination, and I think Carson's making the right decision.
Let's get to college basketball. JU is in action tonight at Bellarmine. That is in Louisville. Tip is at 6:30.
Yeah, I like JU, what the team I think they've assembled. They've played 2 conference games. They played Lipscomb, who was by far the pick to win the conference by everybody, and had it down to a 2-point deficit and lost by 5 or 6, I think. And then they played Austin Peay at home and really drilled them. I think JU's got a pretty good team. I really do. I don't know how good Bellarmine is. I can't pick the games. I don't know the league yet. But I think JU's got a good team. They're going to be fun to watch. I do believe that.
UNF also back on the court. The Ospreys travel to Eastern Kentucky. That is in Richmond, Kentucky. That game starts at 7.
I was surprised, Hays, that UNF got beaten badly in both those games. Now, Lipscomb's pretty good, but Lipscomb rolled them. And they were way up on Austin Peay in the first conference game of the year, and they let them come back. I still believe they've got a good team. I really do believe that. But after those wins on the road to start the season at both South Carolina and Georgia Tech, 2 good Power 4 programs, I thought, wow, this is going to be a spectacular year for the Ospreys. Now, look, there's a lot of basketball left. Hopefully they go get this win and they start turning it around a little bit. But I was surprised they started 0-2 in the league.
Get well wishes to my dad, Steve Carlyon, who had surgery today but is doing great. Thank you to his great medical team and my amazing stepmom, Sherry.
You know what? I'm glad you pointed that out. Your dad is a good dude, man. I've enjoyed watching football with him. I've enjoyed talking about the Beach Boys with him. He's a good dude, and I hope he does great. I know he's going to do great.
I appreciate that. Love you, Dad, and we will get you out on our musical note of the day because we've got an anniversary to celebrate today.
Hold on a second.
On this date, 41 years ago, Van Halen's 1984 was released. Panama, Hot for Teacher, I'll Wait, and of course, this classic, Jump. The album sold over 10 million copies.
I would say this. In that era, in the mid-'80s, David Lee Roth was as recognizable as an entertainer, other than Michael Jackson and Prince.
Megastar.
He was as recognizable as any entertainer in the world.
I agree.
It was a small window.
Small window.
But in that window, he really was. Great job.
Thank you.
Well done. Back to wrap the program after this.
Baby, just how you feel. You got to roll with the punches.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The NFL playoffs start on Saturday. The Los Angeles Chargers will be in Houston to take on the Texans. Los Angeles, a 3-point road favorite, minus 105 against the spread. Houston, minus 115. LA, minus 155 on the money line. Houston, plus 135, and the over-under 42.5. Chargers, the number one scoring defense in the NFL, giving up just 17 points per game. The nightcap Saturday has Pittsburgh taking on Baltimore, AFC North rivals. The Ravens favored by 9.5 points. They're on a 4-game win streak. Steelers have lost 4 in a row. Pittsburgh plus 360 on the money line. The Ravens are minus 500. The over-under 43.5. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the GBank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Aunt Linda clogged the guest bathroom. Your nephew thought the AC was a snow machine. And let's not even talk about the kitchen sink after that turkey grease incident. Ooh.
Congratulations, your family finally left. But the mess stayed behind.
Don't worry. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning can fix it all. From backed up pipes to overworked AC units, we've got you covered.
Start the new year fresh, because your house deserves it.
Call Duck Duck Rooter today at 904-862-6769. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Right now, get $50 off any service of $150 or more.
Frank Frangie here, and I can't say enough good things about the team at Sunshine Turf and the work they've done for us. Let Sunshine Turf transform your backyard into a low-maintenance oasis that will be green all year long with artificial turf. Caleb and his team can help you create the lush outdoor space of your dreams, whether you want a durable place for your kids to play or you're ready to say goodbye to muddy paw prints. Visit sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 for a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
Get off the ladder and put on the helmet with Gutter Helmet of North Florida. We are family-owned and manufactured locally. Cleaning your gutters is a dangerous and dirty job. That's why with Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. Water goes in your gutters while trash and debris go on the ground. It won't collect like filters do. Gutter Helmet protects. Call now for 10% off and a free gutter cleaning and tune-up with your purchase of Gutter Helmet. Call 904-762-7779.
When you roll into a convenience store for some cold Bud Light, you want to make sure it's, well, cold. Check out the big coolers at Circle K. They make sure it's chilled and ready to go for the big game or party. Swing by Circle K and pick up some cold Bud Light.
We could call them helmets and cleats, but they don't wear cleats.
Those shoes are hot.
Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dodd.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
You think you could join us?
Matt Hayes here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Your home is your sanctuary. It's where memories are made, and you should feel safe and secure. Superior Fence and Rail is here to make your home complete. Whether you need a classic wood fence for privacy, a sturdy aluminum to keep your pets safe, or a modern vinyl design that boosts your home's curb appeal, every fence is built with precision and pride. Trusted by homeowners and Jacks to deliver fencing solutions that stand strong in any season.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Picking here for Bow 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bow 9. Visit Bow 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bow 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Instant Keys saves the day if you have lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call 722-1111.
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
When looking for a firearm, you want knowledge of product, a fair price, and of course, a quick process. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jack's Beach is always stocked with brand new firearms and the quickest in and out times this side of the ditch. BeachesJewelryandPawn.com.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Trevor Lawrence got a chance to speak to the media for the first time in a while at Thursday's press conference. One of the first questions asked was how Trevor's emotions were to having his head coach being fired, where he answered with this.
It's unfortunate, I guess is the best way to put it, just because you feel like you wish you could have done more and you wish you would have won more games. If you asked any of us going into this season, no one would have thought Coach Peterson would have been fired at the end of the year, and you just see the way the year went, and it's just disappointing. So I think it's a weird feeling, but you do understand it's part of the business.
Lawrence now prepares for his third coach of his NFL career, as it's now time to look forward and prepare for future success. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, where have we been on the course of the program today? Been all over, really. We've talked about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor certainly spoke to the media and was respectful and kind, and I made the comment earlier, and I'll stand by this, that he's always been good. He seemed like a good young guy always. Today, he seemed more of a grown man. I don't know why. I can't put a hand.
Oh, he's a dad now.
Yeah, he's a dad.
Congratulations.
But there's a time when a quarterback, this is my team. Now, Trevor's way too unassuming and humble to ever say that. But there's a time it's his team. You know, you've seen it with quarterbacks. This is my team. And that felt like that today watching Trevor. He was terrific in his podium work today, so it was good hearing from Trevor Lawrence. We talked about Jaguars coaching search. Brian Flores, Steve Spagnuolo, a new defensive coaches added to the list. Aaron Glenn was already on it. I think I made the comment earlier, and I'll stand by it. It's going to move very quickly, I think, quicker than it has in the past. We certainly talked about that today. Dennis Dodd checked in to talk about that fantastic game tonight. I'm ready for some football tonight. Penn State and Notre Dame in the first of the Final Four tonight. Then tomorrow, the second Final Four semifinal. Ohio State and Texas. We talked all about those games. It was good checking in with Dennis. Carson Beck now is coming back to college, but not back to Georgia. A lot of people think he'll wind up at Miami, which makes a lot of sense. All that was stuff we talked about on the program today. Hey, we did not get to this because there's a lot of football, but I'm going to bring my friend Chris Reimer in here. He's sort of the PR guy for that TTL Golf League.
Seems like it did great.
It did 1 million. I mean, it did great from ratings.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch it. Did you watch it?
I didn't see it, but the clips on Twitter, it looks. I can't even really understand it.
Yeah.
The simulator and what they have that's real, and again, I didn't. I'm sure if I watched it, it would have been well explained.
Yeah.
But just seeing it, I mean, people marvel at the technology.
Yeah. So it'll be a lot, and
it's a little different from me playing Golden Tee at the bar, but it's also very similar. Yeah. I did watch like 5 minutes of it.
It did. What was? Give us I didn't watch one bit. What did it feel like? Look like?
It felt weird. But they have a I don't know what you'd call it, but in South Florida, like this arena, I guess it's an arena, and they had a good crowd in there, and you have teams, I guess. So it was like Ricky and a couple other guys versus a few other, but they're all big name golfers, and they hit it into like a 60-foot screen.
Right.
And then once it hits the screen, they do like a zoom in on the ball and where it would go on the course, and they're real courses, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like you're watching Golden Tee. Honestly, it's not very exciting.
Yeah. But one of the obvious I would get, and I'll ask Reimer because he obviously he's the PR guy. He understands it really well. I would imagine golf's like every other sport. Golf has had a very narrow demo for a lot of years, and they're trying to expand their demo. Baseball's the same way. A lot of sports have a narrow. Oh, they all do. They all have a narrow demo, and golf's trying to expand its demo. And in the video game age, maybe you can get younger people, to watch it for that reason.
And I would think this is a lot of banter, show their personalities more than what you can really do, in
absolutely
on the tour.
They're like announcing them with hip hop music coming out, and it's a big show.
Yeah, that's. I think it's more personality driven probably than it is like an intense competition.
Yeah.
That we already have that. We have the majors, we have the Players Championship, we've got the playoff. I mean, so this is probably a chance for them to kind of maybe show off a little bit more of the color of the game.
Yeah. And there's huge name. Like every name was big.
Well, yeah, because like Tiger and Rory are the ones behind
They were like hanging out watching. So they weren't playing the one I saw.
If you've got Tiger Woods, you've got something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, that's
a pretty good start.
You know what? That's right.
You know what? We're doing something with golf. Oh, yeah? What do you got? Well, we got Tiger Woods. Okay.
Great point. So you're exactly right. Tonight, what's happening tonight? Notre Dame wins?
I like Notre Dame.
Give me a score. Give me a storyline. Give me something, Carlyon.
I think Notre Dame late 86-yard drive. Riley Leonard caps it off with a 2-yard run out of a rollout. And I think Notre Dame gets the victory 23-20.
It's that game. It's not 38-37. It's not. And it's also not 35-12. It is a back and forth, slow slug fest. Someone's going to lose a tooth. Someone's going to turn an ankle. Someone's going to get carried off.
We're going to need more tape over here.
Yes, we are. It's that game. It's that. I think I'll go Notre Dame 2. I'll go a field goal to win it. Mitch, whatever his name is, the former South Carolina kicker. He was in South Carolina for 14 years, and then he went to, was it Jasper? What's his name? So Mitch, the kicker.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, so I'm going to go Notre Dame field goal late and a 27-20 24 victory for the Fighting Irish in a game that'll be just as old school. If you don't love old school, then something's the matter with you. I can't wait to watch it tonight. Let's say hello to my friend Rick Below.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
It's a nice looking sweater.
Thank you.
You can get away with that. I couldn't.
No, you couldn't.
I'd look about 300 pounds in that bad boy. Frangie can get away with it.
Quarter zip's what it
Some
is.
of this, speaking of 300 pounds, look at this. I'm dropping.
Oh, my God.
My God.
Tonight, Rick, you know what they ought to do? They ought to water the field so I get some mud.
Like they did in 93 when they watered the field?
Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State and Notre Dame and
Penn
slobber
State.
knocker. Penn State and Notre Dame. It's a slobber knocker, isn't it?
Well, I think Penn State has the best combo running back tandem in America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they both over 1,000 yards, and you got 2 top 5 defenses, and you got 2 teams that love to play traditional old school football by running first and then passing. And I think Aller's the better passer. Leonard is also, when completely healthy, is very fleet of
very good runner.
Fleet of foot. He was last year at Duke before he got hurt.
Yeah, he's a very good. You're
fired
right.
up for tonight's game.
I am too. If unfortunately there's a federal law now that everyone's got to be in the shotgun every play.
Yeah.
But if not, this would be I formation, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
This would be just I formation. 3rd down and 11. Notre Dame's in the I. Wouldn't it be? It'd be that kind of a game.
Yeah.
So
This is great. 91st Orange Bowl, and this is what it's all about. So really fired up for the next couple of nights, and I think it's going to be I think it's going to come down to the final possession tonight. I really do. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game because, again, we got 4 of the top 6 defenses remaining in college football playing the next 2 nights.
It's funny. I think, and we'll talk about this tomorrow, I'm not sure I think Ohio State, Texas is as close as everybody does. I don't know that I think that
Buckeyes run away?
Maybe not run away, but I think 10-12. I don't think that one's a final possession game. So, but we'll see.
Texas doesn't get there without that 4th and 13.
Correct, 4th and 13.
When they blitzed, and the guy's wide open. He got behind the safety in the corner, but that was an unbelievable play.
Yeah, it was
by Ewers, and was it Golden? I think it was.
Yeah,
it was Golden.
But it was Rick's talking about against Arizona State. That Arizona State stopped them. They win the game, and Texas hit the 4th and 13 for the touchdown. What's coming up tonight?
I got to tell you something. You can tell by the glow that I got going on.
You always.
Are you pregnant?
This is. Was that my former producer? If you don't think there's bad blood between LaSelva and I, usually I know he does this talking behind my back, but he got that one. I am so excited right now. Florida State knocking off Miami last night. I got to tell you something, guys. I really think this is Florida State's year. I think if they keep this thing going, they're finally going to win the NIT. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on that tonight.
Well, I knew there was some reason for the glow. I just didn't know what it was. So there's that.
Maybe hoping on a special guest. We'll have to see. And then in 45 minutes, the Philly Godfather will check the money on tonight and tomorrow night's game.
Sounds good, Rick. Rick Ballou goes into the night. Enjoy the football tonight. Enjoy Rick Ballou first, and then enjoy the football tonight. I'm excited about the Final Four. We have a real Final Four. I know we've had 4 for a while, but it wasn't a Final Four, just 4.
These guys have earned it.
These guys have earned it. It's the Final Four. Enjoy it. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Herald